British Breeders Chairman John Marriott and his wife Monica live here in Rotherham, next door to John's dad and daughter. It's a wonderful place for greyhounds, and as you would expect, there are plenty of pups.
We've had this place for 25, 30 years. It was derelict when we bought it, and I think it's still work in progress.
Not a bad commute to work, is it? It's actually a really nice lifestyle.
It is nice. I mean, I think these days with traffic, it's nice to be able to just open the door and, you're on the job.
Not just greyhounds here, is it?
No, we have a boarding kennel. We've had boarding kennels here for coming up 10 years now, and they're really successful.
So essentially, does the boarding kennel fund the greyhound hobby?
It has to. I think in greyhounds, the prize money compared to the expenses, unless you're winning a major competition, I don't think that you're going to be looking to make money out of it, that's for sure.
The most famous dog ever bred here is Adagio Bob. You've got a beautiful picture on the wall there. How proud are you that he came from here?
Oh, you can't really put it into words. It just that night when he won the Mitch Millwood Essex Vars, there were other Group 1 winners in that race, and if anybody watches the video, he didn't just win, he absolutely gave him a running lesson. And the fact that, I can remember that dog being from just a small little pup, we've got pictures here, there and everywhere of them at various stages, and to be culminating in a display like that is fantastic.
What gave you that sort of bug for breeding?
I think I've always liked a challenge, and breeding's always a challenge, it's always intriguing. But I think really sort of seriously into breeding around 15 years ago, when we sort of like really started here breeding pups. And in those 15 years, we've probably had a couple of litters each year. Some years more, some years less. And I think we're currently stand at 15 track records, which in 15 years is, well, I'm happy, put it that way.
You've got a nice crop of brood bitches here at the moment that you're waiting to come in season. What makes a good brood bitch, in your opinion?
A good brood bitch, there's lots of different things. Most people will just look at the pedigree, the names on it, and see how fast they were. But for me, your bitch needs to be super keen, because if you don't get those pups onto the track, you haven't got any champions. Another thing I like is temperament, because some of the pups that struggle to chase have inherited maybe a shyness or a nervousness. They're not really non-chasers, they're just a little bit wary. And I think if you've got outgoing, bomb-proof bitches, I think they pass that on, and I think that can help you just get them on the track. That's step one.
In recent years, British breeding has increased a bit here, slightly on the increase, and certainly stabilised. And there seems to be a better quality of stud dog standing here now in the UK, would you agree?
I think there's more and more people looking towards stud dogs in this country. I'm hearing of stud dogs who would be normally snapped up by top Irish kennels that have been given a chance in this country, and I think the more choice of the top performers can only help British breeding.
For anybody thinking of breeding a litter for the first time, what would your advice be?
My advice would be, there's two things to think about. One, are you prepared for everything that it's going to cost, or everything that's involved, because you don't want to be halfway through and then worrying about it. You've got to think hard. I started by just buying 2 pups at earmarking and seeing how I coped with rearing a couple of pups from earmarking up till they got to the track. I think that's a good place to start. If you really want to breed, then make sure your bitch is as good as you can possibly get, because it's like if you were doing football, you buy a Premier League footballer rather than a non-league footballer, and your starting point is crucial when you're breeding.
And in terms of from when they're born until the point where they're coming into the kennels, you put a lot of goodness into them, they get a lot of space to run around in. Are those important factors?
They are vital. I mean, feeding is paramount for me. If you don't put top quality food in, not just when the pups are born, for mum to produce plenty of milk and stuff like that, your brood has to be prepared ready. I treat my brood bitches as if they were top open race dogs. You know, they're fed exactly the same diet. They've got to be. That way they're full of all the goodness to pass on to the pups. When the pups start weaning, you've got to feed them good quality food. If you do that and they've got the freedom to run around, they need more and more as they get older. They're growing, they need to fully stretch. If they're restricted, I think you restrict the performance. And if you don't want to restrict the performance, you've got to let them have the space.
It was lovely to see here today as well, the way that you use the brood bitches to almost teach the pups who are that bit older.
Yeah, I mean, all pups have got instinct. Some have got it stronger than others, and sometimes it just needs switching on. And when I've got the old girls, they still love to run and have fun. So why not let them have fun, and at the same time the pups see what's happening and they want to do it. We must get through dozens of cuddly toys and, you know, other empty plastic milk bottles, you know, and the pups go mad for them. And by the time they're 3-4 months old, the pups should already be switched on.
You've bought dogs in and you've bred dogs, you've got both here. What's the difference when you have success with a home-bred or a bought dog?
It's a bit like chalk and cheese, really. If you buy a dog in, somebody else has done all the groundwork for you, and the credit should go to them. You know, if I bought a dog tomorrow and I paid £25,000 for that dog, which I've never done that, but if I was, somebody else has produced a £25,000 dog, and I'm the one then who's just got to make sure that it performs well. When you are breeding them, you are taking it from the day it's born. You've got probably 18 months just to get to that stage. So you've put 18 months in already. And, you know, the trainer then takes on somebody else's hard work. And it's, you know, if they're going to do it for the owner, they've then got to make that dog into what it's supposed to be. It is so much better. You know, the feeling inside when you've bred and reared one is so much stronger, so much stronger.